Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. Joining us on the line now is Nancy Lee Gulbrandsen. She's an author and humorist whose mission is to entertain, educate and empower women. Her satirical dating guide, Swipe Left, The Savvy Woman's Guide to Decoding Men's Dating Profiles, was born from a poem about her own online dating debacles. Welcome to the show, Nancy.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. And this must have been great fun putting this book together, was it?
Yes, it was. I had a lot of friends ask me to do the audio version of the book, and I tried, but I laughed too hard. I can't get through the profiles myself without laughing, so I'd have to hire someone to do that, and I didn't think that would be right. I think I need to be the one to actually read the book.
I think it's funny, isn't it? Because with regards to dating, the reality is when you're in amongst it, it's not that funny when dates are going wrong and people aren't who they say they are. So I suppose it's one of those situations where you either laugh or you cry.
Well, yes. I mean, if anyone that's doing online dating, you have to bring your sense of humor along for the ride. And there are days and evenings where it's cringeworthy sometimes, whether it's just a conversation you've had or a phone by phone or on the messaging, the actual dating app messaging system, or a meet and greet. I mean, it can be really upsetting and sad, but if you bring that sense of humor along, it can turn it all around, and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. I suppose that the key maybe is to not expect too much, so you're not constantly disappointed. Exactly.
And even when you pre-screen a guy, whether it's messaging or a phone conversation, until you're face to face, people can often pretend to be something that they're not. So, prepare to be disappointed. It goes with the territory.
Yeah, I've always found that really intriguing. I've never really understood why people would lie about, particularly their appearance on a dating app, when saying that they're taller than they are, and then you meet them and they're not. And I mean, it's not a great start, is it?
Yes, it is. And I think one of the most common situations I encountered on the apps when it comes to men and being transparent, the first thing that men tend to do is they lie about their age. They always say they're younger because they want the younger women. Then about maybe, a phone call in, or it might not even be until you meet, they come clean about their age. And to me, that's like, okay, you're trying to build a foundation and you're starting with a lie. And that's the biggest red flag in existence. If someone's going to start out with smoke and mirrors, then you can only imagine what comes after that.
Yeah, it's not a great starting point. So you, as well as your own experience, I know that you spoke to a lot of other women about their own experiences as well with dating online. Were you finding that women were having the same kind of issues or coming across the same kind of guys, or was it that you had so many different experiences to put into the book?
Actually, no matter who I speak with anywhere in the country, whether it's my friends in this area in which I live or across the country, it's like we're dating the same men. They're just in different zip codes. So some of the stories in my book, some of the profiles in my book are based on my friends' experiences online, because certainly, I can't have all the fun, right?
So can you tell us about some of these kind of archetypes? Because in the book, you put them into sections, don't you?
Yes, I've got several chapters in the book, and my first chapter is called Digital Dating Disasters. And there's the guy that we called Catfish Calvin, who is pretending to be someone he's not. catch of the day, Carl, and he's the guy that's holding the dead fish, which for some reason he seems to think, that's an aphrodisiac, and it certainly is not. Women, we wish we could send a memo out to just, lose the fish, guys, just put the fish down, and, we don't need to see your catch of the day.
That's brilliant. So that's in people's photos, profile photos, like you'd be impressed with the size of their fish.
Oh, women everywhere are just, rolling their eyes. Why men seem to think we want to see them holding a fish. We don't. And they just need to, delete those pictures and be a little more imaginative.
Love that. Tell us about some of the others.
Well, I did a chapter on the red flag review, and those are all the men that you just want to run away from. Let me see some of these. We've got foot fetish Felix. There's a lot of guys out there with fetishes, and he was one of them. We've got All About Me Alden, and he's the narcissistic cyclone. And any women out there that have done much online dating, you're going to come across a narcissist in your travels. And my goal is to make you very aware of what that looks like so you can turn around and run for your life. We've got the players, and we've got Philandering Phil, Casanova Cal, and Mile High Mike. So these are all the guys that, they think they're all that in a bag of chips. Then we have the guy that every woman on a dating app has encountered more or less, and I'm calling him Dick Pick Rick, and I need say no more. He seems that he just likes to share. He overshares. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And then there's Boozy Bruce, and I have a firsthand way too long history with a gentleman that I named Boozy Bruce in my book. And, he's never usually not intoxicated on something, whether it's drugs or alcohol. My goal in writing this book is just to make women understand that it's not just them that's encountering these characters. They're everywhere, no matter where you live. And my goal is to introduce them to the red flags so that they stop wasting their time and their energy and the emotion on men that just don't measure up.
Yeah. One of the things that I find interesting, I wonder if men, I'm not excusing any type of behavior or anything, but I wonder if men are a bit sort of confused as to what women want. I mean, so many dating shows that are on television with younger women, in fairness, often talk about not wanting to be with a guy who's too nice. They prefer a bit of a bad boy. But then when they get the bad boy, they want to tame him to kind of make him nicer, which I think must be so confusing for the guy. If they want a bad boy to be a bit nicer, why don't they just go for a nicer boy to begin with?
Because nice guys are boring, and some women are turned on and excited by the excitement, the party guy, the fun energy guy. There's really nothing to the fun energy guy except maybe a hangover the next day, and so we are. We're drawn to the big personalities, to that energy that an exciting guy gives off. When in reality, the one that doesn't light, the table on fire is the one that you should be focusing on. He will be transparent. He will be reliable. He will be trustworthy. There's something about that men like that seem boring, when in reality, that's the foundation that you need to grow a really healthy relationship.
Yeah, I bet that wisdom as a woman in terms of what you want and what you need happens as we get older. I think a lot of us will be able to relate to wanting and needing something different in our 40s, 50s and beyond compared to what we wanted in our 20s. Maybe in our 20s it's all about having fun with a bad boy, I guess. And then as we want to settle down and find real love and someone that we want to commit to on a long-term basis, then ideally that becomes less or not important, and you want to be with a nice guy.
Yes, very true. I mean, when we're young, we want excitement and adventure, and we want to be active, and we want to be going and doing and participating in all kinds of activities. And that's fine. But there's healthy activities and then there's unhealthy behavior. And I think we have to recognize, partying until the wee hours can be fun on occasion, of course, right? We all have those stories and great things we've done. But as a lifestyle, that's just, nothing good is going to come of that for you as a woman if that's the kind of guy you're dating.
Yeah.
There's no future there.
A phrase that I've heard only in recent years that it took me a while to kind of understand, but I think I get it now, is love bombing, which sounds like it could be a really nice thing, but it's not.
It feels great. Oh, being loved bombed, it's like you're Cinderella at the ball. I mean, you just feel like the most beautiful woman in the room. You're getting all the attention. This man is saying all the right things and doing all the right things. And he's wining you and dining you and trips and gifts and flowers and romantic dinners. And all your friends are like, where did you meet this guy? And your family's like, wow, look, he's amazing. Does he have a brother? And then it just implodes as fast as it started, because the love bombing is more about him than it is about you. It's what he does to make you overlook his red flags. So when a guy comes on really strong like that, it's like a beautiful high. You feel special and wonderful and loved, but that's not the way real relationships, long-term healthy relationships grow. They start slow and they build. Yes, there's nothing wrong with having, butterflies in your stomach. That's a nice feeling, but sometimes those butterflies could be warning you. That could be a red flag. So in my book, I just explain, what's considered normal and what's considered love bombing.
Yeah. And red flags can sometimes be difficult to spot because a lot of the time, particularly in the early days, you don't necessarily want to see them. You want to believe that they're the right person and that everything's going to work. And even if you do see them, a lot of people make that mistake of going, oh, it's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter, but he's so lovely or he's so cute or whatever. And you discard the red flag because you want to focus on the positive, and that can obviously be a mistake.
Yes, when someone, even if you're crushing on a guy, when someone shows you who they really are at the outset, just take that for what it's worth. They're doing you a favor.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any better. So making excuses if someone drinks too much or doesn't call you for 2 or 3 days and things like that, behavior that's just disrespectful, those are red flags, and stop overlooking them and making excuses for men that don't deserve your time or your energy or your emotion.
So in your experience, do you feel like the more that you date, the better you get at it in terms of seeing the red flags and making better decisions?
Absolutely. Repetition, right? It's all about practice makes perfect. Yes, it's amazing how quickly you can zero in on a red flag once, well, for me, writing the book, I also had to do a deep dive into my own psyche and made me realize that I was making excuses. I was doing exactly what you said. And now, just because I have so much history on and off the dating apps, meeting people organically, I zero in a lot faster on not always what they say or what they do, what they don't say or what they don't do. So there's a lot of pieces to learning about someone and just zeroing in as quickly as possible on those red flags.
Yeah. I think a lot of the time with this as well, put yourself in somebody else's situation. So what you're saying about the date to your friend, if your friend was saying the same thing to you about a date that she'd been on, how would you react? If you say to your friend, I'm not sure, he doesn't sound like a good guy, or he doesn't sound like the guy for you, then, we need to listen to our own advice.
Absolutely. And I've given more than my fair share of advice since writing this book. When I see someone, dating someone that I can tell right off the bat that there's nothing there for her. And that's what I say. I'm very honest about it because, I can see, I can tell based on what she's sharing about their time together, their conversations, his behavior right off the bat. And I've not been wrong to date. I've become that good at this.
Yeah. And do they take your advice? Because again, that can be different. If they're not seeing the red flags and they're really, really liking them, it can sometimes, good advice with really great intentions can sometimes not come across that way.
Yeah, absolutely. But since I wrote a book about this, to remain quiet would be wrong. I have to, since I feel like I have to share that information. And they normally will listen. They will not do anything right away, but eventually they will see exactly what I saw way before they saw it. And, then they'll let me know, yeah, you were right. He wasn't worth my time. Oh, wait till you hear what he did. Oh, he's done. I'm over him. So, yeah. Yes. But sometimes we just have to walk that walk ourselves. But I feel compelled to, put my 2 cents in, whether I'm asked or not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also the interesting thing is, which we all need to remember is people have their own journeys and own reasons for making the choices that they do. I've known people who, make the same sort of bad decisions when it comes to dating. And it's very easy on the outside to go, what are they doing again? Why have they gone for that same type of guy again after what happened last time? You'd think they would learn from it. But often it's to do with things that might have happened in their childhood, relationships with their father, all kinds of complicated stuff. People aren't stupid. It comes from somewhere, which is always really interesting to understand, both about someone else, but also about yourself.
Yeah, we do tend to repeat our dating history. There's a certain type we like, and every woman out there needs to write down, make a list, do that Franklin T. What were the advantages of this guy? What were the disadvantages? And look at the common denominators about the pros and the cons. And why are you continuing to make these same decisions? What is it about this personality that you're drawn to? We can relearn that behavior, because if that repeated cycle continues the same way and it ends badly, you're setting yourself up for failure, in future relationships. We can, once we identify what we're doing and what we're drawn to, then we can pull back and switch gears. But until you actually take inventory, I don't imagine anything will change.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, if people want to get a copy of the book, it's available on all the usual places where you buy your books from. It's called Swipe Left, The Savvy Woman's Guide to Decoding Men's Dating Profiles, and it's by Nancy Lee Gulbrandsen, who we've been chatting with today. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Hannah. It's been a pleasure.